All right, here's the first one tonight, Scott. So the great news is, man, that head is staying up beautifully, like you've done so well the last couple weeks. And those arms are extended nicely. And over here, this is kind of the bad news, that you're above the plane on that downswing quite a bit more than we'd seen the last few months. That's the bad news. The good news is you thought that was going to be the problem of why you were spraying it both ways. So your thought was absolutely correct there, buddy. So that's fantastic that you're learning your swing that well. And this is you trying to improve it. It's better, but not as good as it can be. And then here, this is better, but still not as good as it can be. I love the fact how that heads up so much better. And here you drilled a lot of those hybrids. That one you missed a little bit because it was a little steep. And then with the driver, this was a little more above it, and that's why it was a little high and to the right, and this was closer to being on plane, and so that's why this one, even though it started right and wasn't your best, it was lower and drilled out there more than the one right before it. So that's good work there, buddy. And then with that putting, again, man, just continue to get more and more precise so you can see those things be more and more perfect more and more of the time. And you're making great observations about the speed of the green. That's sweet, man. All right? Any other thoughts there or anything? Mm-hmm. Right. Right. The main thing there is you should play it farther back in your stance to try and eliminate some of the grass being between the club face and the ball when you're making contact. James, you can hit some there, bud, if you want to. Did you already hit some tonight? Okay. So play it farther back in your stance to encourage you to kind of miss some of the grass better, right? The farther forward it is, if I'm right-handed, the farther forward it is, right, and I'm coming in lower, I have more chance of getting a lot more grass between that. Whereas played back in my stance, now I'm coming down this way, better chance, right? And then when you're playing it back in your stance, where would that tend to make the ball go? Left or right? Yeah, so it's going to tend to make it go left for you since you're left-handed. And you're playing back in your stance, that would tend to make it go lower. So you should aim a little more right than normal. And you could hit a little more lofted club, right? Since you're playing it back in your stance, you're de-lofting it. And if it's a 7-iron distance, you might be able to hit an 8 or even a 9-iron back in your stance, you know, to make sure you get some kind of semblance of face on the ball and get it up and airborne so at least it's rolling out there when it lands and maybe rolls up on the front of the green. Instead of totally duffing it with the 7-iron where it only goes 80 or 100 yards. Yeah, that's a good question. With the full swing. Yep. So that's good work, bud, again, like I'm telling you. Any other thoughts or questions? This is Joel Suggs. I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend and showing you your swing on the 2D equipment that I have. And so I want to take about 2 or 3 minutes to just show you around Meadowlink. This is the studio I use in the winter for all my students. You see there's the down-the-line camera angle for our 2D equipment. And then we have the face-on camera angle also. And then what we also have here is 3D equipment to where I can show you your swing from 6 different camera angles with this 3D equipment. And we can get your swing from down to the 1/120th of a second in terms of exactly what your hips, shoulders, and hands are doing in the swing. And then also, I have the most realistic hitting curve I've ever seen from puttersedge.com. So when you hit your full shots, it feels as realistic as possible. And then I have 3 different green speeds for you to practice your putting. 9.5 on the step meter, 10.5 on the step meter, and 12.5 on the step meter. That's benefited my students tremendously. And then also I have a lot of learning aids like this Smart Stick. You can see the rest of those learning aids over here in my bag that we can work on to help you learn the certain fields in your golf swing that you and I both want. And then also I help my students a lot with their equipment through the winter. This is a frequency analyzer where we twang your club and it gives us a reading here. And then also we plot your whole set each club on these lines to see if the set is really matched or not. Quite often they aren't, and it helps my students tremendously when they find out what clubs are the offending clubs. Then if we get tired of being indoors and we want to go outdoors and hit some, we can do that. It's my daughter! Ellie! Good to see you. I haven't seen her in weeks. No wonder you've been gone, Ellie. You've been out here playing in the snow all this time. But this is our natural turf area. This is closed until April, as you can see. But it's a fantastic area where we can step outside and hit some balls and get some real ball flight. Or, if we get pretty satisfied that things are looking better on the video here, we're kind of cooped up inside and want to go outside, we can step on out and hit balls and see real ball flight for about 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, however long you and I can stand the cold, out into the air, and we see them land at these different flags. I have a yardage book for this driving range. It's the first one I've ever seen in my life where we know exactly what it is with the front, back, and middle of each green. And again, the covered area here is heated, so we stay out there for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, like I said. It enables us to see some ball flight, and then we get satisfied that things are looking the way we want, and we come back inside, take off our coat, and look again at the video equipment to see how your swing's looking, to make sure that you understand it. And then notice too, my exercise ball up top here, and then also, so I help my students a lot with their fitness through the winter, and then I will help you also with your sports psychology, with your golf psychology from the golfpsych.com people down in Texas. That's helped my students tremendously a lot over the years too. So again, I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend. I look forward to seeing you again out here this summer at Meadowlinks, or even right now in the winter. I have a lot of people that work on their games with me right through the winter. Check out more information about the things I do to help you at joelsuggs.com. Take care.